Welcome back to the Bird Brief. This is Stephanie Jenkins Aslett, avian ecologist. Today, we are going to unpack a major research development on bird vocalization. Let's get started. Have you ever gone out on a random night in the spring or fall during migration and heard short calls or pips high in the sky overhead? Well, if you haven't, totally try it. It's super surreal and makes us connect with birds on a very personal level, because you're hearing a bird that's migrating. He's on his way in the middle of the night. But I digress. We have never known why they pip or whatever call they're actually doing. We've always thought they migrate alone, using their own internal instinct, particularly for birds that have never migrated before, or their memory and experience if they're older birds, also stellar orientations, they're using stars to navigate. But it's been unclear if that's what they're doing. Why are they spending all this energy on their pips high in the sky if they're not using it for a purpose? So new research challenges the idea that birds are migrating alone. Using ground-based microphones, scientists analyzed over 18,000 hours of flight calls and found that solitary songbirds seem to cooperate across species, which is super cool, sharing information. Much like, flashing headlights to warn you that there's a deer coming, or police. By applying machine learning technology, these researchers detected patterns in bird calls that suggest intentional communication rather than just random noise. Because why would you do random noise if you're exerting so much energy in the first place? So what are they doing it for? This finding hints that birds might be exchanging social information to help navigate and avoid dangers. And so if this is indeed true, it would transform our understanding of songbird migration, and it really shifting it from more solitary birds doing their thing to more they're doing it as not just a population, but across species. So what patterns specifically suggest intentional communication? So as they analyze this data, a few basic patterns came up. First of all, they were more often calling when they're flying closer to one another than when they're by themselves. Second, calls varied not only by the species themselves, but also age and sex groups. Third, non-random call timing. Instead of sporadic chirping, these calls showed structured patterns, which could mean birds are signaling about, unknown, but navigation cues, weather conditions, landing sites. The list could go on and on. The last pattern is similarity to daytimed mixed flocks of a lot of different species. Many songbirds form mixed species flocks to find food and avoid predators during the day when they're in migration. And this study seems to associate a similarity between that cooperative strategy and nighttime migration. So altogether, these patterns point to the possibility that birds are not just making noise, but they're actively communicating to aid their personal migration, a major shift from the idea that each bird is navigating purely by themselves. So with that, this is Stephanie Jenkins Aslett, and thanks for listening to the Bird Brief. And get ready for the next episode. We will be talking with an expert in the field, and we'll be diving into songbird data and how you can pull the meaning out of a ton of data that is wildly complex, busy, and noisy. If you want to know more about the story, please check the show notes for more details, and please tune in 2 weeks for the next rundown, or should I say feather down, of the birds we love.